I have a minute. It's right up 6 o'clock.
There she is.
There she is.
Okay, at 6 o'clock, we're going to bring this meeting to order. We're going to start out with the invocation with Kenny Bingham at Casting Out Ministries.
Y'all glad you guys are good. Father, we just thank you, Lord, so much for this day. We give you praise, honor, and glory, Father. We ask, Lord, that you're here in the presence tonight, Father God, just to bless this meeting. I ask that you bless each and every member of this council, Father God, and the mayor, that you give them one mind and one accord, Father God, and let your will be done in all things, and any decisions that are made for this city, Father God. We ask that your will be done in it, Father. We ask that you bless this community, Father God. We ask that you bless the first responders, the police department, the fire department, the ambulance drivers, Father God. We ask that you just keep them safe, Father God. We ask that you keep our community safe. Give us all wisdom, Father God, on doing the right things in this world, and especially here in this community, Father. We just want to tell you that we love you, we thank you, we honor you. In Jesus' name, amen.
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 Okay, if you'll join me in the pledge. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. So we're going to start out the items of community interest. Doug, if you want to meet me up front here? So the city and I want to proclaim the week of May 19th to May 25th, 2020 as Emergency Medical Services Week. And we appreciate what you guys do for the community and all the people up here. Thanks so very much. Appreciate that. Okay. Next up is public comments.
Tell them about
Oh,
the next
I'm
meeting.
sorry.
That's fine.
Our next meeting has been moved to May 28th at 6 PM due to the holiday. So make sure you guys take note of that. Okay, now, next up is public comments. So does anybody have anything they want to say or talk about? Okay, moving on. Okay, so we're going to the city manager report, and I'm going to turn this over to Bert. Let him do a little talking.
I heard from our attorney representing us in the Midwest versus City of Bowie last week. Midwest filed a motion asking for partial summary judgment, which is a judgment without a trial in their suit against the city. Our attorney filed a motion to strike some of the evidence Midwest submitted in support of its motion, and our attorneys will be filing a plea asking the court to dismiss the entire lawsuit based on the city's governmental immunity. We have finished installing the new ultraviolet UV system at the sewer plant. Last week, Jay and his crew loaded the temporary bypass equipment on a truck, ship it back, which means we didn't have to pay any extra rent on it. The new system's working great. All we like out there is pouring some more concrete around the UV trough and putting a cover over the new equipment. Jay, Jody Reeves, Brian Reed, John Ramus, David Blackman have done a superb job on this project, and I commend them for the work they did, which is not their normal line of duties. So, way to go, guys. Attaboys. The work at the water plant on the chlorine to bleach conversion is almost complete. The containment wall in the chemical building has been completed. The floor has been coated. They're doing final painting, plumbing, electrical and plumbing work. The bulk tanks for the bleach have been moved in and they're being plumbed. As I stated before, Jared Sutton tells me that the plant is easier to operate because the bleach is easier to balance than the chlorine was. The entire water plant crew of Jay Sutton, Rocky McNutt and Aaron Robeson are to be commended for their hard work, as well as Jay Evans and his crew for all the electric work they've done in the building. The street department paved Lee Street as they've completed the water line and new water taps on that street. This paving of streets where we have laid new water lines will continue with Matthew Street. Jerry Henson, Thomas Parr, Manuel Segura, and Cody Acuff and Stoney Lawrence have all done an excellent job in this street, and they will continue the paving program as the hot weather gets here. They have also done a lot of work on drain areas on Pecan Street and other areas of the city. The water department construction crew is laying new lines on Clay Street as we have builders who are building houses in that area where it was served by a 2-inch main line. After we verify the sewer lines in that area are good, we will repave Clay Street where we lay the new line. The process of proceeding with the community development block grant of the sewer line replacement that runs parallel Mill Street under the railroad track is moving along. The engineer is getting permission to bore under the railroad where the line will run, and they're still doing the environmental study. Construction on this project will probably commence in the fall. So that you know, I have been appointed to serve on the board of directors of the Texas Public Power Association. Our board meeting this quarter was last Friday on a conference call. I've been having several conference calls with TPPA since my appointment concerning the calls that concern COVID-19 and how utilities are operating under these conditions. Our electric department was trained 2 weeks ago via webinar from the new legislation which the state passed requiring the training for new transmission line safety rules. Snyder Engineering furnished the training, and the guys took a rainy day and went through the training and have all been certified. Another benefit of TPPA is that we are supposed to get a shipment of N95 masks for our employees from FEMA through the APPA, which is the American Public Power Association for utility workers. We can use the masks for all of our city departments, especially the Second Monday group. They still hadn't come in yet, and they were supposed to be in a couple of weeks ago, so I'm trying to find out where they're at, but we should have them. We made the decision to open the swimming pool on May the 30th. The governor has limited the number of attendees to 25% of the occupant level, which in this case will be 80 people, including the staff at the pool. We have not yet made a decision on the summer recreation program. The chlorine in the pool, as well as the sunlight, will help kill the COVID-19 virus, which should help sanitize, along with hand sanitizer, hand washing, and masks for the staff. So hopefully everyone will stay safe during that. I've had some calls about opening of a second Monday, and I'm sure that we will have calls about our other openings as we open the businesses up again. We're taking every precaution in each of these activities, and I'm sure that most people will be happy about and use every precaution in their attendance. Those who are worried about the opening should not worry about any of these things, because we are doing everything that the governor is requiring in each of these activities. No one is requiring that anyone has to attend second Monday or go to the swimming pool or any other activity. The Texas Department of Agriculture, who manages the Community Development Block Grant Program in the state of Texas, has changed the rules on the program. Before next year, we did the scoring at the local council of governments, which in our case is North Texas Regional Planning Commission. But next year, the scoring will be done at the state level. No one likes this new grant scoring process, but like the legislature in the last session, the state is not going to be nice to the cities. Each council of government is going to have a representative on the state scoring committee, which will consist of 23 volunteers, one from each council of government. I have been named by the county judges, members of Nortex, to the state scoring committee, and I will be representing the Nortex Regional Planning Commission. This will not cost the city any expenses, and Nortex will be paying for my travel. My previous experience on the regional scoring committee was the key to this appointment, and this will be a benefit to the city in our quest for community development block grant. In our meeting tonight, we will have a presentation. The city owns property on the south side of town that was previously drying bed for sludge from the sewer plant, and it was one time was a lagoon type treatment facility. Back in 2007, the city had the sludge removed and reclaimed the land. We now use part of the land for selling reuse water from the sewer plant and potable water in bulk. There are about 20 acres that should not be used for any type building, and we have had a request from the Reno family in Bowie for them to make a BMX bicycle racing track out of the property. I've explained to them that the city will furnish the land, but we will not be out any expense money in the construction of the track. And I've told them that we cannot dig or have permanent structures on the property. Any buildings will be temporary, and there will be no digging for the track. And that's because I'm worried about what we might run into if we did dig. They have someone who donated dirt for the construction of the track and is seeking volunteers to haul the dirt for them. About the only thing I can see that might cost the city money is securing the reuse and potable water facility with fencing, and we might help them set light poles for the track lighting. This track is strictly a volunteer facility, and the only cost, if any, will be a small upkeep fee for kids riding on the track. The Reno family are here, and they'll be explaining that later in the meeting. Clyde's informed me that Selma Park has now been able to open. High water has kept us from opening the park, but now water has receded and we were able to open. We also have a new park hostess who will be able to take reservations online. She started work last week as Clyde and the Parks Department have been training her. Her name is Christina Smith. Is that right, Clyde? Yes. And if you get a chance, go out and meet her. I've been contacted by an organization called the Nature Conservancy. They want to buy water from Amy Carter Lake from us. They have a project going south of Lake Bridgeport, and we'll also be using water from that lake. The project is some sort of training project for area farmers and ranchers on water usage and conservation. They are to present me with a contract that has prices included, and I still hadn't gotten that yet. Their estimated usage would be between 180 and 500 acre feet of water. For example, 500 acre feet of water would be about 4 inches of water if the lake is full, and of course less than that for 180 acre feet of water. Well, before we sign any type of contract, I will get the advice of an engineer that has experience with lakes and the hydraulics of a lake. And as time goes by, I'd like to have some comments from y'all about that. So, and that's it.
All right, thank you, Bart. Okay, so now we're going to do consent agenda items. I need someone to make a motion to approve the minutes from last meeting.
So moved.
Mr. Malone, I have a second.
Second.
Mr. Bell. Okay, Mr. Bell, how do you vote? Aye. Ms. Higgins?
Aye.
Mr. Malone?
Aye.
Ms. Buckmaster?
Aye.
And Mr. Kent?
Aye.
Okay. All right. Moving on to new business. Accept the resignation of Mayor Bill Miller. So you guys have his resignation letter there in your packet. I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Okay. Ms.
Second.
Higgins? Okay. Mr. Kent, how do you vote?
Aye.
Ms. Buckmaster?
Aye.
Mr. Malone?
Aye.
Ms. Higgins?
Aye.
And Mr. Bell?
Aye.
Okay. Next up, consider appointment or special election for the mayor position. So you guys have some options here that Bert threw in the packet. So we can discuss this. I feel like I am more suited for my council seat. I feel like I'm provide the city better there in that seat than in the mayor position, so that's the reason why I turned it up. If you guys wanted to kind of discuss what you guys want to do.
I'd like to recommend, I won't make the motion yet, but open for discussion, I'd like to recommend that we accept applications before going straight to an election, mostly due to the expense.
Mhm.
You know, if we have to have a special election, we're looking at somewhere between $6,000 and $25,000.
Well, we can't have,
Actually, 4,000 tops.
Okay.
and then Sandy had put here in your packet that we can't actually have a special election. It's actually going to have to be in November,
It'd be on regular election day.
regular election.
It'll still be called a special election.
Yes.
But
Right.
it runs with the regular election.
I don't see that we have any other choice than to take applications, interview, and appoint.
Okay?
Can we do, I mean, is that, we can do that?
Yeah.
You just
Is
have to
there
do it within
any
30, you have to
law
do it
we
within
want
30
to do?
days.
Come on, Malone.
What'd you say,
Come on,
Sam?
Malone.
You have to do it within 30
I've
days.
seen the way you treated previous mayors.
That's just mean.
Yeah, that's just me.
That is. You want to borrow this?
Do we have any applications yet or anyone raising their hand for it?
Well, no, but y'all haven't officially opened it up either. I mean, you are making that decision tonight.
That's true.
If we can legally do it, I would like to make the motion that we accept applications to fill Bill Miller's
Okay.
resigned seat for mayor and interview and appoint at the earliest possible date.
We have to do it before the 28th, well, at the 28th meeting, we have to do it before the end of the month, so.
Keith?
So we have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay. Okay, Mr. Malone, how you vote?
Aye.
Ms. Higgins?
Aye.
Ms. Buckmaster?
Aye.
Mr. Bell? And Mr. Kent?
Aye.
Okay.
One point of clarification, so we have to do it before May 29th. Now, our next meeting is the 28th, so it all has to be done. We have to interview and accept and nominate a person from that date. Period.
Are we gonna have another meeting before that
Or-
to do that?
I was gonna say, maybe we need to.
We're going to
meet
have
before
to,
that.
I think we were talked about, we're going to do an application process for a week. Next week, we'll hold the interviews. We'll have to do a special meeting, and the week following, we could appoint the
Okay.
mayor.
Yeah, because it's going to be very difficult to
Yes, sir.
interview and
Correct.
all
Yeah,
in one night.
yeah, so that's the reason we kind of broke it up, so we give you some time.
So we'll all get paid overtime for the extra meeting, right?
You can put a request in, but I doubt it.
Here's your overtime.
Yeah, double what you're paying.
5.5,
Yeah, that,
0 is
that works
still
out pretty
0.
good. I like that. Okay. Okay, so moving on, we're going to consider requests from the Renos on the BMX racetrack. So now I believe the Renos are here tonight and are going to give us a little presentation. Yes, ma'am.
Sure.
Did everybody receive a little packet from me? All right, good. It has a lot of information about BMX all over the country, and how BMX, all the products that we can bring into the schools, we can bring BMX into schools, into the city, into the county. We actually have people from PSW here today. We have people from our community that really participate in this wonderful sport, and they're very excited. So, I do have a little slideshow that I want to show you. Sorry, this is my husband, Sean. My name is Linda Reno. My husband, Sean. I have my daughter, Jacelyn. She's a junior at Bowie High School. And my other daughter, Shaylin, who is a USA Elite Woman BMX Pro. I also want to introduce our friends. We have the Dunns, Toby Dunn. His son currently races BMX. We have James Gilliam, his 2 children. They're little, so we didn't bring them. Race BMX as well, and they're out of Fort Worth or Euless. We also, let's see, okay. We have a passion for bikes, not just any bikes, but BMX race bikes. We would like to bring a BMX racetrack to Bowie. BMX is the fastest growing youth sport in North America. BMX was added as an Olympic sport in 2008, and BMX is an activity that everyone in Bowie can benefit from ages 2 and under to 61 and over, and every age in between. That means all of y'all. Just like all ages of BMX riders can choose to race locally or district-wide, which our district in Bowie would stretch from Wichita Falls to Dallas. Statewide for a state championship title with the title of Texas. Nationwide for a national title, or worldwide for a world championship. The benefits of BMX. It promotes a healthy lifestyle, family-oriented, where it's not a sport where you go and drop your child off, and then you run to the next sport, and then you come back an hour later. Everybody shows up as a family, we participate as a family, we leave as a family. BMX teaches self-esteem, discipline, and goals. BMX racing provides a safe, organized environment for kids to ride their bikes, safe from cars and busy roads. BMX offers everyone the ability to participate at their own pace. It is a great alternative to team sports, where no one has to try out and no one sits the bench. Everybody participates. What economic benefits can a BMX track bring to Bowie? Once the track is built, it supports itself through practice and entry fees. It's run by volunteers and special events. Local businesses, gas stations, restaurants will also see the benefits as practices and local races will bring in people from Montague, Wise County, DFW, Wichita Falls, and even our neighbor Oklahoma. We estimate it will bring in at least 10 to 20 out-of-town families into Bowie on a weekly basis for about 50 weeks a year, unlike other seasonal sports. We only close 2 weeks in December and for weather-related purposes. Texas currently has 13 BMX tracks, and each track is awarded a state championship qualifier each year, which this has a potential to bring in 200 to 500 people into the city for the weekend. That's Friday, Saturday, Sunday. That's a lot of heads and beds. We would love the opportunity to work with the city of Bowie along with the economic development team to bring this awesome family sport to Bowie. I put together a short slideshow to give you an idea of this awesome sport of BMX. And then we'll can answer any sports that you have, or any questions you have.
Thank you.
Everybody see it? I'm sorry, y'all can't see this.
You come sit on the floor and you watch.
So we want to keep Bowie forever young with the BMX track.
If you'll indulge me, I'd like to have my two daughters come say a couple of words.
Yes, sir.
Shaylin Reno was my oldest daughter. She's a 11-time state Texas champion. She's a silver medalist in the World Championships as a junior elite woman, 2-time amateur world champion, and part of the U.S. Olympic training team, and an Olympic hopeful for now 2021. And Jacelyn's a junior here at Bowie. Be her third year here at Bowie. She's a former state champion, Gold Cup champion, 2-time USA World Qualifier, and also runs cross country, track, and basketball at Bowie High School.
Hi, my name is Shaylin Reno, and I've been racing since I was 4 years old, and now I'm about to turn 24. And I got into BMX racing through my dad getting my 2 older brothers into it. And I was in gymnastics at the time, and I'm like, hey, I want to do this too. He's like, oh, you can't even ride a bike without training wheels. Like, these are going to be my superstars. Like, get out of here. And so within a week, I taught myself how to ride a bike without training wheels on the side of the track, and threw me on, and I haven't stopped yet. And at the time, my brother that's 18 months older than me, and I wanted to be on a local team, or any team, because it looked cool. And people are like, no, like, we have enough girls, like, we don't need y'all. So we decided to start our own team, and anyone that was new to the sport or asked to join our team, everyone was more than welcome. So we never turned anyone down, and and now it's our 20th year going into it, and we have about 30 riders each year on our team. And they travel around the U.S., and I get to travel around the country doing this. I've been to about 15 different countries riding my bike. And at 4 years old, if someone told me I could ride my bike around the world, I would say no way. But it's insane. I get to travel the world, and anywhere I go, I get to stay at someone's house local. So it's amazing. And can help Bowie grow and just have a fun time. So I'm excited. And there's Jason.
Hi, I'm Jason Reno. I'm a junior at Bowie High School, and I actually didn't have a choice to start racing. I was born into the sport. My family, they've been doing it, forever. So I was practically born at the BMX track. The first time I went out there, I was about 6 weeks old, and all the parents and all the kids growing up, they helped me form who I am today. So I've been raised up there, and I've been racing since I was 4. And Shaylin and my big brother, they actually taught me how to race on just how she did next to the track. So I've been traveling the U.S. since I was 6 weeks, and now I'm hopefully trying to follow into my big sister's footsteps by turning pro one day. Olympics.
Well, good. Good, thank you.
But basically, BMX is a sport if you just want to race locally, then that's cool. And then if you want to take it, like she said, she's raced all over the world, and it's as much as you want to do with it. So that's basically our presentation.
Well, good. Council, do you have any questions for them, or?
When do you anticipate being open if this were to get?
It'll probably take us about a month to move all the dirt and to build the track. That's going to be the biggest thing, is moving all the dirt and build the track. We've got several track builders. We've talked to USA BMX about bringing a track builder in here that he builds the nationals all over the country. We've got 6,000 yards of dirt donated. We've got the front loaders and the skid steers and electricians, plumbers, whoever we need to get to help. The only thing that we're lacking right now, and we've got some leads on a couple of it, is
volunteers lined up to help.
Yeah, we've got, Craig Prince is the track director at, Cowtown BMX. He's gonna come out to help, build it. He also does track slurry where you mix dirt with glue and you actually put it on the track so that it's maintained, so when it rains, it doesn't wash it out, and people volunteer, help. Everybody at DeSoto BMX, South Dallas, Wichita Falls is gonna come down here and help build it. Like I said, that is our district. And so they're super excited, and USA BMX is excited because it fills the gap between Wichita Falls and the Metroplex. And we can even run North Texas Series where, all the people from those tracks come in and we all race at each track, and do some kind of series.
And with Wichita Falls being such a bicycle destination, I know that Wichita Falls has reached out to us, and they're excited because this is kind of like a stepping stone. All the Metroplex people stop in Bowie, race BMX, then go on to Wichita Falls and, enjoy all the biking festivities there as well.
And it's not just a racetrack either. I mean, we have, I don't know if y'all have ever seen Strider bikes that don't have any
Yeah.
pedals. Well, they actually race Striders. And so we build a little bitty Strider track for the kids that are under 5. And then also there's a pump track, Alvord built a pump track out there with motocross deal, and it's where you don't pedal, it's all just pumping, and Red Bull actually sponsors that, and Shaylin's raced.
They have 2 world championships so far in the last 2 years.
Yeah. And she's raced the one here and the one in Switzerland.
And one in Latvia.
Yeah. But it's a big up and coming sport. But we'll have enough dirt to put in a little pump track. And then eventually we'd like to even, just kind of put some trails around there so we can make it.
Non-bike.
Yeah, I mean, so it's a bike park.
Just multiple tracks.
Yeah, not just BMX. I mean, if come out and ride your
Not unlimited.
yeah, so.
And scooters and skateboards. And
Well,
I
not
also-
skateboards, we have a skate park here.
And I also have my certification for USA BMX coaching as well.
Okay.
So,
And that's another thing, we even had, Jason had some friends of hers call her from Minnesota and say, hey, can we come down there and train for a week? So, I mean, we may even get out-of-state people.
Yeah, lots of my friends from even like Canada, like they just want to come down since they always have snow in certain parts of Canada. They just need a place where they can, train as much as we do because it's worldwide. So
we're pretty lucky here that the weather's really good, so we
Yeah.
can pretty much train all year round. And we were supposed to have our world championships in Houston at the end of this month. So there was a whole bunch of foreigners coming down and wanting to stay in this area just to go down there and train because that is an Olympic qualifier for the 2021 Olympics.
So we need to build another hotel as well.
Okay, so the request is to use land that we own to build this on, is that what we're,
Yes, ma'am.
okay.
And
Well,
where's it
we've already-
located?
Where's
it
this land
located?
at?
It's right there behind the ballparks, right there behind the BSA grounds. If you go out to this ballpark, there's a gate right there
Gate
off
right
the
there
left-hand
on-
side.
yeah.
And there's a water plant, what is that little
Actually,
building?
it's a reuse water station. We've got a couple of big tanks out there, and we sell water out there. We'll have to figure out how to secure that, but that's not a big problem, I don't think.
I think we've been talking to y'all for a little over, a year?
I've been working on it a year.
Yeah, and then I think we had to wait from TDEQ to,
Yeah, I contacted TCEQ. and
TCEQ.
I asked them if we can do that, and they said, really and truly, no restriction. But like I said in my presentation a while ago, they don't recommend building anything permanent on it, but there's no restriction, so I don't know what that means. So I'd rather follow them and you know, their suggestion is it's like any buildings, be temporary buildings like on skids or something like that, whatever. But we can dig for, you know, setting posts and telephone poles for lights and things like that. But, you know, other than that, it's just, they don't think it's a good idea to dig and put footings down and stuff with concrete, so.
Did you say it would used to be a sludge pit?
It was the pits, the drying pits for the sludge that came out of the sewer plant. Now we dispose of that sludge through Waste Connections, so.
Okay, so is there any environmental issues? I don't wanna learn.
TCEQ said no.
Okay. I mean, I don't, just as long as we don't have 5 years down the road, a whole bunch of sick kids or something.
No, TCEQ closed it down permanently in 2007, like I said, so they said it's okay, so as long as they say it's okay. And we have a letter in the file.
That's a perfect area for one.
Okay,
It's-
so next question. Y'all build this bike park or racetracks or whatever they're gonna be. What kind of liabilities do we have as property owners in this?
USA BMX has, I can get you all that information. They have insurance on, I mean, if anybody gets hurt out there, but I can get you all that information as far, I mean, I've never seen a track take any kind of liability because USA BMX, they charge us in our fees for the insurance.
So each rider has to purchase a membership, and the membership is good for 1 year, and that membership includes insurance as well.
But you could also get 1 day membership as well.
Yes.
Our liability insurance covers us for that, just like it does for the rodeo arena and things of that nature, so.
Somebody caught a line drive to the face at the baseball park, it'd be the same liability insurance.
I'd like to ask Mr. Rotrample what his thoughts are on it.
Well, I've got I do have a couple questions along those lines, and that's my first thought is liability. So, since we're asking for city property to be used for this track, let me ask you this: as far as the Cowtown DeSoto, I know Cowtown's out there by off beach, I guess, basically. Who owns that? Is that privately owned property, or is that owned by the city?
That is privately owned.
Okay, that's what I was
privately
thinking.
owned.
And what about DeSoto? I know it's under that big
DeSoto-
pavilion and everything.
DeSoto is owned by the city and it's part of the Parks and Recs department.
I know that's about a baseball field.
Yeah.
Okay. So that was my next thing, and I think you kind of hit on it there. I know, so this USA BMX is going to be the one who's going to be the blanket policy in regards to everything.
They're the sanctioning body.
And I assume that like DeSoto and like Cowtown, we're going to have practice days out here during the week. Okay. And so is part of that going to be, if we're going to have riders come out here, that they're required to at least do a 1 day even on a practice day, so that way they can, okay. And we have someone who can police that, who's going to be able to make sure they're signed up for that. Okay. And the sanctioning body, this USA BMX, is that the same sanctioning body that does the grants in Tulsa?
Yes.
That's the same? Okay. That's that. All right. So, is there anything that you're aware of as far from the USA BMX that identifies the city from any type of liability? I mean, we do have this liability insurance, but I hate to use that if we've got, if they have something like that in place that would identify the city in case someone does get injured. Do you know if they have anything like that, or?
I can get you those answers. I mean, I know that I've never, in 20 years being all over the country, I've never heard of a track or a city being liable for any kind of injuries or anything. I mean, I know they have an insurance policy on everybody that rides it, but I can't give you that information.
Okay. Yeah, that'd be beneficial. I mean, I agree that the likelihood is probably slim, but it only takes one, so.
Oh, yeah.
Well, and the riders would not be my only concern. So say you're having a tournament or something of that nature, and I bring my child out there and I end up getting hurt because I walk in front of somebody who
Right,
ran
that
over me
insurance
or whatever.
policy does cover
So,
everybody
that would not be.
comes to an event. But
Covers
I-
the spectators.
Right, but I'll give you the very specifics on all the liability.
And the other question is, in regards to who's running this facility, I mean, are you guys gonna be the one who's running the facility, or is it, how is that set up in regards to?
So what we need to do is, as soon as if we think we're gonna go forward, we need to incorporate, and then we need to get started on 501(c)(3), turn that corporation into a 501(c)(3), and then it's board run, and you have a track operator, which I would start out as the track operator, and then it's all voluntary based.
That's all the question I have.
Council, anybody else? Okay. Well, I'll take a motion to consider requests from the BMX Park. I get a second?
I'll second.
Okay. Mr. Bill?
Aye.
Ms. Higgins?
Aye.
Ms. Buckmaster?
Aye.
Mr. Malone?
Aye.
And Mr. Kemp?
Aye.
Okay.
Go race,
All right, well,
kids.
I'm excited, so, thank you all very much.
John, I'll start getting information from you about the insurance, and we'll run everything through the city attorney as far as that stuff goes.
I'll gather that information and bring it to your office.
Okay? All right, that's great.
Thank you all again. Appreciate it, Sean. Thank you. Okay. Under new business number 4, memorandum of understanding and delegation of authority between the city of Bowie, Texas and the Montague Emergency Communication Team. So I think Bert, I think you want to talk about this?
This is just a basic agreement between the city and the communications team. It's pretty much self-explanatory.
Okay.
Volunteer organization that it lays out who does what we provide, what they do, and so on and so forth. It's been operating well for a long time, and this just confirms the way we've been operating.
Okay. I believe Mr. Higgins is here also if we have any questions for him.
I have one question. Our emergency communication, or our emergency operations person, isn't that the mayor?
No, our emergency management manager is actually Doug, and Kirk is he's the head of the team, the Montague team over there, the building right behind
The
us.
communications team.
Right, but didn't you tell me one time that the mayor was the person that was in charge whenever there were, say, I don't know, say,
Yes,
hurricane
he is.
comes through and blows us all to bits? Isn't the mayor the person who would takes control of the emergency situation?
Pretty much true.
In
That's
the
correct.
state of Texas, the highest elected official in an area, which the city is the mayor, the emergency management director.
Okay.
You may appoint an emergency management coordinator to assist him, which in this case is Doug.
Okay.
The Emergency Operations Center is separate from that somewhat because the 1983 ordinance of the city of Bowie says that the EOC falls under the city manager.
Okay.
So that's the way it's set up here.
But there's an ordinance that says the EOC falls under the city manager?
Yes.
I don't know about that. I'd have to look
Okay,
at it.
well, my question was this, because first of all, is this just, are we renewing this? Is this something new? So we've never
I
done
had
this?
signed the agreement, but I felt more comfortable having the mayor sign it.
Okay. My question was this, I mean, it refers to the city manager, whatever. If the mayor is the person that is the emergency person, then why is not the mayor the person that's?
Well,
The
you've
mayor
got-
can't
you've
do
got-
everything he needs to do and run this too in that kind of a situation. This is strictly for communications. It's an operations center to communicate with the outside world. Okay? They have a multitude of different communication devices in there set up in case your traditional communication is down due to whatever disaster has happened. The mayor would in effect be too busy with city operations to to really worry about the communications, and you need a team like the Montague County Communications
No, I'm not,
team.
okay,
Yeah.
I'm not saying we don't need the team, okay,
Yeah.
or whatever. I'm just wondering, my question was why we are having them report or, because everywhere in here it says report to the manager, city manager. Why would that not be the mayor if the mayor is the person who's in charge during an emergency?
But I'm there all the time, and the mayor's not there all the time. It's mostly the reason we set it up that way.
Okay, so do we have an issue between? Okay, so our charter basically puts the mayor as the person in charge during an emergency.
Yes, ma'am.
Don't we have an issue with the people who are reporting in an emergency not reporting to the mayor? That is my question.
That'd be a chain question.
I mean, if the charter designates the mayor as the emergency director, then can we then do this that says, basically, the city manager is in control of communications?
This is strictly the communications team. It has, other than communicating with the emergency management coordinator, and basically, like if Doug's out in the field and we've got an emergency going on and he needs a tank truck, or he needs this, or he needs that, he calls and talks to the communications team and says, I need this or I need that. That's basically what this organization does. In periods of thunderstorms and things of that nature, they monitor the thunderstorms, the weather, and put out warnings and whatnot like that. They're watching lines of thunderstorms like tonight that might come in, and if there's any tornadic activity, they recommend to the police department they turn on the tornado sirens, things of that nature. They're a communications team.
Oh, I mean, I understand all of that. I'm just saying, not sure that the city manager.
State law takes care of the emergency management coordinator position. Correct, Doug?
Okay.
If I might, you're correct. I think what the focus of the agreement is more in line with his day-to-day operations where the mayor's not around.
Mhm.
It gives him a point of contact to the city.
Okay.
If there's a declared emergency, it's a whole new set of rules that start to take place. When we have that declared emergency of a local disaster, the mayor does step in as the emergency director, and then the city manager and I both work in concert with the mayor to get everything handled.
Tammy, in your code of ordinances, page 1-29, it basically says that under the city manager section, control and direct the actual operations or training type stuff, so.
Because he's there and he can make the decision faster than
I mean,
trying to find.
I get all that.
Yes, ma'am.
I do. I mean, I understand everything y'all are saying about that. My question is then, though, I mean, can we make an actual document, which, I mean, I don't know what this is, an ordinance or what, it's not, this is not an ordinance.
This is an agreement.
But, that states, okay, activate the Emergency Operations Center for emergency situations. I mean, that is actual, in an emergency situation, we are talking about in this document, them contacting the city manager. Then the city manager would not be the person who they would need to contact, right?
We'd also contact the mayor and say, get your hiney up here.
Well, I mean, I get that, but I'm just saying
In
that
practicality,
I'm not sure that the document is,
yeah, in
making the
practicality, the
agreement
way it
with the
usually
right
works, the
people.
mayor is so busy, we contact the city manager, and then he decides what's funneled up through the mayor and it just basically puts a level between us so that we're not constantly bugging the mayor. Is the way, and it's kind of the way it normally works most places. So. And like I said, and that is putting us in alignment with our own code of ordinances.
Ms. Buckmaster, part of it is that, given the city manager, he's hired to do the job to do whatever's fit for the city. If you want me to, do a little research on it, give an opinion, I don't mind doing that. And get back to you on that, or whatever. I just got this book today, so I'm kind of looking through that.
What, and you haven't read through that whole book yet?
So I can give an opinion on that, but
Yeah, I mean, I think I would feel better before voting on it if we knew that the people that we're making the agreement with and whatever are the actual people that we need to be making the agreement between or whatever. But
Okay. So can I get you to make a motion? You want to table it?
I would move, yes, to table it until the next meeting. And that would allow our attorney some time to make sure that we've got everything worded the way that it needs to be worded.
Okay. Can I get a second? Can I get a second? Okay, that motion dies. So I'll entertain another motion.
I make the motion that we accept this memorandum of understanding and delegation of authority between the city of Bowie, Texas, and the Montague Emergency Communications Team as written.
Thank you, Chuck. Can I get a second on that?
A second.
Okay, Thomas? Okay, Mr. Bell, how do you vote?
Aye.
Mr. Malone?
Aye.
Mr. Kent?
Aye.
Ms. Buckmaster?
No.
And Ms. Higgins?
I have to abstain.
Okay. So that motion passed. Okay. All right, new business number 5, the electric cost of service and rate study. So I'm going to turn this back over to Bert. He's going to
Typically, the engineers, Snyder Engineering, would be here to make this presentation and answer questions for you. But they are working from home and not traveling. They finished the study and sent it to me, and we've had a couple of conference calls with, and I say we, me and Kerry, discussing it. But basically, what the cost of service study does is let you know whether you're charging the right amount and bringing in the amount of revenue that you're supposed to be bringing in, and the answer to that question is yes, which is the reason that you do this study. But you also look at things like how each rate class is charged, whether one rate class or another rate class is supporting each other, or if one is carrying the rest of them or whatever. And it helps make decisions about the how we should set the rates. Now, you'll see in here in a minute, if you haven't already seen it, there is a rate chart showing, and those rates are based totally on cost of each specific one of the rate classes that we sell to. The residential, small commercial, medium commercial, and industrial. If you look on this page right here, the cost of service update results, you can see that the residential rates are being subsidized by the commercial rates. The industrial rate is pretty close, within 2.7% of what was related to their costs, so it's fine. But what this study is telling us is that small commercial and medium commercial are subsidizing the residential rates. And as the things that to consider, the following changes, and the engineers on our conference call the other day said that they would, it'd be more equitable to charge rates based on cost and not on any other preference. But that's a recommendation from them. They don't tell us what to do. They just advise us. So, and what you have is, medium commercial and small commercial, are about 18 and 25%, being, subsidizing the residential rates. If you'll look, on the next page, and I also had a rate chart here because I like these better, and I can see them a little bit better. The one in the study doesn't tell what kilowatt hours is used. But if you've got this one, you can see that our residential rates currently, and they're revising, and the revisions that are involved in is they're, and you can see from the definitions that the customer fees, customer charge is a way to charge for basically the fixed cost within a rate class. The energy charge is the amount of electricity used. The WPTC charge is, that's just a figure to transfer the expenses of, and it's mostly transmission expenses from us to the customer. And in other words, it's just a walkthrough deal. We don't make any money on that part of it.
On which part?
Do what?
On which part?
On the WPTC.
We don't make any money on that?
No, it's a pass-through.
Interesting.
Anyway, you can see the residential rates, the commercial, small commercial, medium commercial, and industrial rates. I've been visited with them about in the medium commercial rate. They want to start, they're recommending that we start charging a demand charge on the medium commercial rates. And the sample kilowatt usages are the average usage of each rate class, so.
Bert, could you explain to me what the definition of energy charge is on this chart?
That's the cost of electricity.
That's the cost of electricity. Now, do we make money on that?
Yeah.
Okay. But we don't make any money on WPTC, correct? Okay. Now, the energy charge from BTU is what I assume you're referring to, the electrical charge bill that we get from BTU, right?
We get a bill for all of it.
Right. But the actual energy charge portion of it from BTU, and you know I've got the bills, I've seen them, is far and above 0.017. We're charging our industrial 1/3 of what it cost us. Yes, sir.
No.
I've got the numbers.
That's not right. I'm not an
Okay.
engineer, but I've.
Over twice. We're charging less than half of what we pay for it.
Okay, so this WPTC charge, that has the cost that we pay to BTU.
Got it.
That's all that, the
Yes.
energy charge, that's what we make off of.
No.
Yeah, it is.
The energy charge is what he said we get charged for the electricity from BTU.
No, it's in this WPTC.
It's what we get charged and what we charge. But let me tell you something, and I've told you this before.
Yeah.
What we get charged and what we charge are mutually exclusive of each other.
I understand
We've
that.
got a
It's
wholesale
different.
rate
We're in
class
the business.
and a residential rate class.
We're in
I
the
mean,
business of making money from the electricity. I
There
got
you go.
that. I understand. But we are charging less on the energy. The percentage, we're making 0.0166% profit on our biggest customer.
That's not true.
Yeah, it
No,
is.
it's not.
Yes, it is. And you're proposing,
I don't know how-
and you're proposing that we go from 195% differential between a residential and an industrial and jump it up to 266%. And raise their base rate by 50%.
That's
Yeah,
wrong.
you're raising the
Your
industrial
numbers
by
are-
100.
The numbers are skewed.
You got it right there, $10 a month base fee, $15 a month fee. That's 50% increase in base fee. Industrial, you're going from 50 to 150, but that $100 on their $200,000 bill is a rounding error.
Do you know what the customer fee's for?
Yeah, for the meters that don't work.
For the what?
The meters that don't work. I know what it's for.
All of our electric meters work.
Okay,
And-
for the other
and-
meters that don't
And we're
work.
getting our water meters fixed.
Okay.
We got a new
Well,
transmitter.
I'm absolutely against raising residential rates on electricity, period, across the board. Because this is just,
Well, the customer fee is basically cover the cost of the pole, the transformer, and the servicing thereof. The energy charge is for the electricity only. The TC charge is for the transmission, the fuel, and all of those things. Which is a total pass-through. We're only making money on the electric charge, the energy charge.
okay, I can bring my bills forward. I can show you.
Okay,
I can prove
but-
it.
Well, you want me to spend $5,000 and bring the
No, I
engineers
don't.
here?
I
And
don't.
let them try to explain it to you again?
No, because,
You didn't understand it the first time.
no, I did understand it. That's the problem. I do understand it
Well-
very well, extremely well.
Well, the good thing is we're collecting enough money from our electric utility to do what we want to do and to transfer about anywhere from 14 to 19% into our general fund.
Yes, and I know and realize and understand and appreciate that that's what that's how we make our money. Got it. And it keeps the taxes low. I'm all with that. But given the situation that we have with the COVID-19 situation and the businesses being shut down, they didn't use any electricity.
I'm not saying that we need to do this immediately, but this is the way we need to think in the future.
Because
But we
our
base
electric
our
usage
rate
in
based
different
on-
groups
based
are
on
going to
cost.
be skewed dramatically different in about 2 or 3 months when we get the reports.
Well,
at
I'm
that
already
time.
getting reports.
So,
Right now, we're down about 14% as far as the power usage.
This is just a discussion anyways, right?
Anybody else have any questions?
It's just a discussion, Thomas. We're not.
I know,
Yeah,
I
we're
realize
not-
it's a
Yeah,
discussion.
because I agree. I agree. Right now is not the time to raise anybody's rate, so. But I think
And I'm
Bert
not
just wanted
telling
to.
you to do that, I'm just saying.
Yeah,
there
Bert
is-
just wanted to bring this information to us to let us know what had happened and for us to think about, so.
There's a more fair way to charge, let's put it like that.
Okay, so my understanding was that this WPTC calculation is basically what it costs us to buy electricity from BTU.
No, that's not the way to term that. It's what it cost us to get the electricity here, the transmission charges
Right.
from the
which-
generator.
Right, which all comes off of that BTU bill.
Right.
Okay. The energy charge is basically our markup when we sell it to the customer.
Right.
Okay, so here's our cost, this is markup.
You know I've got my,
I know you do, I'm just trying to make sure that I am traveling down the right road, that's all I wanna know. Because always think I've got this straight in my head, and then everybody starts talking and gets me all confused again.
There will be a point in time later on in the summer or whatever, where we'll bring the engineers in and let them discuss this for you.
Okay.
And maybe they can make Thomas understand.
But basically what they're saying is that
I already understand. Bert.
Sure you do.
that the residential people are being supplemented by the business people.
That's
Which
correct.
we already knew that, because we lowered the residential rates and didn't lower the business rates, so. Okay,
That's true.
just so that I know what I'm talking
Yeah, that's a good way of saying it. You're exactly right.
Any other discussion?
Any other questions?
Okay. All right, well, since that's just, we're just gonna move on, that's just a discussion. All right, to old business, number 1, second reading of ordinance 2020-06, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Bowie, Texas, amending Chapter 3, Building and Construction, Article 3.100, Building Code by adding a new section 3.104 to be entitled Cross Connection Control Program, providing a repealing clause a severability clause, establishing penalties for the violation of these restrictions, and provide for their enforcement, and finding and determining that the meeting at which this ordinance is passed is open to the public as required by law. Okay. So this is your second reading on this?
Now, David's not here, but this is just a cross-correction ordinance that the TCEQ wanted us to pass. Even though it's covered in the plumbing code, they still wanted this separate ordinance, so we're doing that.
I move we accept.
Thomas? Can I get a second? Mr. Bell? Okay, Ms. Buckmaster?
Aye.
Mr. Kent?
Aye.
Mr. Malone?
No.
Ms. Higgins?
Aye.
And Mr. Bell? Okay, motion passes. All right. And lastly, here we have the City of Bowie Charter Commission. Now, what we're going to do here is we are just going to vote in the 12 that we had already previous done. And since we had one fall off, since we accepted 13, we have a group of names here at the bottom that we need to add the 13th member of the Charter Commission.
So you'll know where those names came from when we had our original list. Those are the remaining names off the list that were willing to serve.
Okay, so I need to,
So, oh, I'm sorry.
do you want to take a motion to accept these 12 first? And make, or is that Mr. Rotremble, how do we need to proceed with that?
Yeah, go ahead, since that's what we had in the beginning, go ahead and make a motion, accept the 12, and then vote on the 13.
Okay, yes, sir. All right, can I get a motion to accept these 12 members we already accepted?
Sandy, do we have to go by each individual?
Actually, I mean, you don't have to,
Okay.
since we have this list, if we want to do it.
Well, then let's don't.
Okay.
I'm just asking because.
We
I just want,
normally do.
yes, ma'am,
I
I
know.
want to do it right.
We always do when it's just like 3 or 4, but since this is 12, I think if y'all want to just do the list, we will.
Okay.
So I entertain a motion on that.
So moved.
Second.
Okay. Ms. Higgins?
Aye.
Mr. Bell?
Aye.
Ms. Buckmaster?
Aye.
Mr. Malone?
Aye.
And Mr. Kent.
Aye.
All right, moving on to the last member of this commission.
Okay, so I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Do we need a 13? I mean,
The reason we chose 13 is in case if there was a dead tie. And that way we can have a 13th member to break that tie, just in the case of that. I'm not saying it would happen, but
If they can't agree on changing this or that and they have to vote on it, it's usually more helpful to have an odd number.
that is true. My thing was just that the more people you get, the harder it is to
Oh,
get
yeah,
everybody together.
everybody's got different ideas, so.
And I think we've got a really big group of 12. I think we have a hard time getting them all together anyway, but we can,
Randy, only
13's good.
people at the bottom
Mhm.
have agreed to serve if chosen.
I don't know.
As far as I know, they have.
No.
It was initially, I think Bert had told y'all to check with people before we ever put them on the list. But then I guess that didn't happen because we had one on the list that, once we told him he was on the list, he's like, I don't want to come tonight. So, I don't
You
know.
talking about the one that dropped off? He told me he would be on. So, he just made a decision like that about it, so.
Yeah.
Do we need to make a motion for one?
Yes, sir,
of
I would
them?
entertain a motion for any person on that
I move
list.
that we add Donna Ashley to the list.
Okay, so I have a motion for Donna Ashley.
Second.
Okay,
Thank you, Mr. Cook.
so Ms. Buckmaster?
Are you calling for the vote?
No, I'm sorry, I'm just writing this down, I'm sorry.
He's talking to him.
Just throw something at me
All
whenever.
right, Mr. Bell, how do you vote?
Aye.
Ms. Higgins?
Aye.
Ms. Buckmaster?
Aye.
Mr. Kent?
Aye.
And Mr. Malone?
Aye.
Doesn't matter.
Okay,
We are adjourned.
that concludes at 7:11. We're done. Thank y'all.
I was really on this guy over here.